So the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom trailer just dropped, and it was quite amazing, I have to say. I've enjoyed Zelda games over the years, and I really loved Breath of the Wild. At one point, I thought it was the greatest game I've ever played. But the last year or so, I've been going on a Zelda game binge, playing a bunch of 2D and 3D Zelda games, and I've been having a good time. And I've been doing all this to prepare for Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. But I think we were all in the same boat when it comes to Tears of the Kingdom's marketing. It was kind of non-existent, so it was really hard to be hyped for the game. We just knew a sequel existed, and yeah. And we got very minimal things for this entire game up until now. I would say this final trailer went pretty hard. It wasn't as good as the Breath of the Wild trailer, but it was pretty good. And I know for some of my viewers here, this is going to be kind of odd because I mostly stick to Sonic. Well, that won't really be the case going forward. You'll see a lot more variety. So any new people here, stick around. You'll see more Zelda and other Nintendo. But with that all said, the Tears of the Kingdom trailer got people hyped, but it also didn't answer some questions that people may have, and a great debate is going on right now. Two things: dungeons and weapon durability. But before we get into all of that, hey, hold up a minute. 75% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel, so why don't you consider subscribing if you've been enjoying the content? You may be like, hey, this might be too early in the video, but 43,000 of you guys keep coming back to these videos, so I'm talking to you. Why don't you hit the subscribe button? Thanks, guys. So when it comes to weapon durability in Breath of the Wild, it is something that I didn't actually find that enjoyable, but I found the mechanic to actually be enjoyable later on within my playthrough. I thought, wow, weapons breaking on me is kind of interesting because it makes me use different weapons and find different things around the world, and you're never not going to find a weapon around. It also helps that we have infinite bombs and whatnot in Breath of the Wild. But over time, I can see why people think it's annoying, and a lot of people were quite upset to see it come back in Tears of the Kingdom. But in Tears of the Kingdom, I don't think it's as bad due to the fusion mechanic. I think expanding on it was a better idea than completely throwing away weapon durability, because it makes the game more interesting in my opinion. In a game like Breath of the Wild, you just find one weapon and never use another weapon again, so I feel like it doesn't really make any sense. And Breath of the Wild decided to do the best thing in gaming and skip crafting menus. With fusion, you just pick up two weapons and put them together. It's quite simple. I think for that alone, Tears of the Kingdom is definitely just a step above when it comes to weapon durability. Because as soon as your thing is about to break, just connect it with something else. I think that's genius. And it makes it even better of an option to use. So I personally think that weapon durability isn't that big of a deal. And maybe there's going to be something in the game that lets you increase the amount of durability weapons have and whatnot. We don't know yet. There's still a lot unknown about this game. And I think people need to give the whole thing a chance. I've seen a few people be quite upset about weapon durability coming back. But I really do feel like fusion is a great remedy to it, as it extends the life of your weapons and making them even better. Even if it looks goofy like a stick attached to a rock. It doesn't really matter, it's still better. I don't know, that's just my opinion. I think it's an overall enhancement to the gameplay, and just fusion is going to be insane, even beyond weapons, with Ultra Hand allowing you to create pretty much anything you want. Like in the newest trailer, we saw someone create a stone robot. Like, what? That's so goofy. Now, the other part of this debate is dungeons. And we don't know for sure if dungeons are in the game, but based off the new trailer, it seems like dungeons may be arising in some of the areas of the game, such as the Gerudo Desert. A giant temple forms from the ground, and they kind of like mix it up in the trailer to make it seem like it's the castle rising up, but if you pay close attention, it's a temple in the Gerudo Desert for sure. And that makes me think, are there dungeons going to be arising or temples? And we also have a section where we see Link skydiving through lasers, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's a dungeon, but I feel like that's a dungeon mechanic that you would put in a game like Breath of the Wild. Another thing that intrigues me is I haven't seen any shrines whatsoever in any of these trailers. Are shrines officially gone and we're having actual dungeons this time instead of mini dungeons scattered across the world? I don't know, but I really do hope so, because I love dungeons in Zelda games. It's the main part why I enjoy them. Now, the debate about this one is the game not having dungeons will make it not as good? That's not something I believe in. I personally think a game like Breath of the Wild doesn't necessarily have to have dungeons. The world is a dungeon. It is a massive dungeon of masterful game design all over the place. I would prefer to have them there, yes, but at the same time, I still think that Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom can survive on their own without dungeons, because the games are unique enough and have enough stuff in them and kind of redefine what Zelda has to be in order to be a Zelda game. So yes, I still want dungeons, but I don't think it needs dungeons to be a peak masterpiece game. And also, I'm sure a lot of the stuff in the sky is going to have a lot of puzzles and explorable things to interact with, so I feel like the sky could provide a great dungeon-like area if there isn't a dungeon. And even on top of that, there's the underground, and the underground looks to be huge so far, and they could also have dungeon-like things in the underground. Personally, it wouldn't bother me if they just got rid of dungeons still and opted for something else, as long as they aren't like Divine Beasts. I think Divine Beasts were trying to be like dungeons, but they weren't that good. I'd rather have none at all if they're going to do something like that. But those are my quick thoughts for what was going on with the whole debates with Tears of the Kingdom and Nintendo and all this stuff. And I just personally don't agree with them fully, and I think the game will still probably be great. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do these things worry you? Are you not picking up the game because of this? Or are you kind of indifferent? And let me know in the comments below. And like always, I'll see you in the next one.
Well, whatever happens, happens.